Hey guys, what's going on? Happy Sunday. I was gonna post this on Monday and make it like a myth-busting Monday, but I know that I'll inevitably forget about it. So this is a cold sore, by the way. Everyone's gonna be like, what's going on with your lip, girl? Did you get in a fight? Unfortunately, not so cool. I get them like 3 times a year, so since I was like 5. Anyways, so I wanted to talk about some things that people have asked me about in the gym and all 3 locations, as well as just people on Facebook ask me fitness questions and health questions all the time. So let's clear some things up. What is BMR? BMR stands for Basal Metabolic Rate. That is how many calories your body needs to stay alive if you were bedridden. So you're laying in bed, you're just breathing, you're just living. I mean, good for you. But just kidding, that's probably terrible. But seriously, so BMR is how many calories you need to stay alive. BMRcalculator.com can calculate that number for you. And then if you're trying to lose or gain weight, you can adjust that number. So how do we make use of that number? So you go on the calculator, you put in your height, your weight, I think your age, and also you can log activity levels and be honest about your activity levels. So example, if you work out at Burn Boot Camp 5 to 6 days a week, I would not call yourself very active or intensely active, because intensely active means a physically demanding job, and that is 2+ hours of activity at a single time. So a 45-minute workout does not count as very intense or intense. It would count as you being active. So just be honest about those numbers, just like with if you're tracking calories and you are not accurately tracking those numbers, even if it's subconscious, you are just hurting yourself in the long run. So I always like to kind of go on the low end of those things just to protect yourself. But anyways, BMR. BMR for me personally, I'm 22. I'm right now sitting at like 140, 142 pounds, fluctuating in there. And I'm 5'4". I would consider myself to be very active. You know, I'm on my feet for about 8 hours a day. And I do work out a couple times a day, one intense workout and then my mobility, whatever. Anyways, so my average calorie burn per day, according to my Apple Watch, according to my Whoop, according to my own calculations, is anywhere from between about 1,500 to 2,800. It really fluctuates. So on my days off, we're looking at like 1,500. On the days when I'm training heavy and doubling at work, we're looking at that 2,800 mark. So what do I do with that? How many calories do I personally eat per day? So how many calories I eat per day is between 1,800 and 2,400. I fluctuate in there. I'm not really trying to like cut, but that's coming from me. So I know that I'm going to be cutting my calories down slightly. So BMR, calculate your number. Then figure out what's your goal. That's the most important, is what is my goal? So if your goal is to gain muscle, you need to be in a calorie surplus, and you need to understand, and there are ways to avoid it, but it's more complicated, and that's a different video. You cannot gain muscle without gaining a little bit of fat with it. Even though, you know, we got the body types, mesomorph, ectomorph. That's kind of not true. Like the body types is kind of not a true thing, and I wouldn't follow that, and I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm a mesomorph. I found myself saying like what body type I am or what I fit into, but some people also are a morph, like a combination of 2, which I am a combination of 2 different body types, so I don't really think it's an accurate thing to look at. So that's our first myth bust, body types. No. Second of all, calculation wise, we're looking at a 250 surplus or 250 deficit. You want to lose weight, you're in a deficit. You want to gain weight, you're in a surplus. It's that simple. Everyone wants to overcomplicate it, and they want to talk about what kind of diet they're on, what times they're eating. It does not matter, and I can tell you because I eat dinner late every single day. When I get home from Burn at 8 o'clock at night and I make dinner, by the time we eat, it's 9 o'clock. I'm asleep by like 10:30 because I'm up by 4 a.m. So we're looking at me eating late all the time, and that has not affected my body mass or my composition at all. What has affected it is what I'm eating, which is garbage. So whenever I'm eating nonsense, like when Danielle and I first got together, we were getting real comfy real fast and eating a lot of dessert and a lot of fun foods and going out to eat a lot. So what my idea of a portion size was, you know, probably 115% of what I needed versus the 100, a regular portion versus this. Over time, that starts to add up. So my body fat was probably like 17%. I would safely say 17%. And I was looking pretty shredded, but I was also kind of like in a bad place mentally, and my relationship with food wasn't so good. And then when Danielle and I got together, I was eating more, as we do when we get comfy in our relationships. So What does that mean for you? Do you need to be eating at a certain time? No. All these techniques like intermittent fasting, even people do alternate fasts, like where they'll eat whatever, whenever, and then the next day they'll do a 24-hour fast. These whole things are structured ways to get your body into a calorie deficit. Like it or not, these forms of eating show and have very conflicting evidence and have very little scientific peer-reviewed like evidence and concrete, like, yes, this helps you lose weight. None of them do. Keto, paleo, what else we got? Paleo, keto. You got like the Whole30 nonsense, which is not nonsense. I just mean that the idea that it's gonna make you lose weight, that diet is not gonna make you lose weight. It's changing your habits. It's gonna make you lose weight. So everyone makes it super, super complicated, but I want to make it super simple. If you want to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit. Can you do a calorie deficit wrong? Yes. I was just talking to a girl, Christina, if you're watching, what's up, girl? She was talking to me about what is she eating in a day and her calories. She was at sub 1,200. 1,200 calories is what your average 2 to 4-year-old needs to be alive and functional and well. So unless you are 60 pounds, 4 foot or less, probably shorter, and growing and in the 3rd grade or the 1st grade or kindergarten or pre-K, you do not need to be eating 1,200 calories a day. The only people that eat that kind of calories are people that are training for a bodybuilding competition in their cut. So unless you're training in a cut for a bodybuilding competition and you're doing a feed, refeed, that is something that you need to do with a bodybuilding coach and most likely a nutritionist. So that is not my specialty. That is not something I pretend to know a lot about. I know some about it. I've done my own versions of like a bulk cut just to see what it would do in my body. And that is not something I'd recommend for any normal person looking to be healthy and feel healthy. It's not maintainable, it's not sustainable, and it's not good for your body. So going on crash diets, whether you're a bodybuilder or a normal person in regular life, just trying to lose weight or trying to feel better, going from these fluctuating, eating a ton, not eating anything, eating a ton, eating really little, what that's doing, honestly, it's fucking up your metabolism so bad that the next time that you get up in weight and you're trying to lose weight, it's going to be so much harder because your body is going to remember. Your body's very smart. Your metabolism remembers the up, down, and the incredible deficit. Our body doesn't care about our 6-pack. Our body doesn't care about losing weight. Our body doesn't care about your summer vacation coming up. It doesn't. It cares about one thing: survival and function. I guess those are two things, but it's basically the same. So if you're eating 1,200 calories a day and your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, what you need to stay alive if you're bedridden, is 1,400, you are 200 under that. So your body is going to take every single thing it can and pack it as fat because it thinks that it is starving. At the end of the day, if you go way back in time to when we were hunter-gatherers and we were just learning how to grow our own food, people ate what was in season, which is very smart. It's just really good for your system overall. And 2, they ate what was around. They would pick berries. They would have, they would pick enough berries to have this much instead of like this much. And whenever they were hunting, right, even though I'm vegan, like I do acknowledge that people do eat meat, people still will, and people did before, they would follow a friggin' buffalo, right? And then they would use the whole thing. They weren't stripping it of the fats. And they weren't like cutting it and salting it and like mass producing it and pumping it with chemicals and hormones. So do I think that people need meat to survive or do well or be successful in fitness? No. Do I think that there's cruel practices that go on in the United States? Yes, of course, but I'm not trying to promote my lifestyle to you. What I'm saying is that it's not about what times you're eating. It's not about like what kind of proteins you're getting, as long as you're getting a complete protein. So for me, you have to think about that. I think that red meat definitely has a lot of negative side effects, but so does chicken, so does turkey. I think too much of one thing is still bad for you. So if you're looking at the hunter-gatherers, they weren't eating a 10-pound steak and chicken, and they didn't have all these options that we do. We have a ton of options, which is great, because we don't have to fight and hunt for our food, and our life can be about more than just surviving. But I think that when we're looking at why they were successful in many ways, and you didn't have obese people in that time, if you're looking at their structures, if you're looking at history, there wasn't a history of obesity 10,000 years ago, or even 5,000 years ago. It wasn't until we started mass producing things. So should you be eating a ton a day? No, but should you be eating so little a day? Also no. So calculate those numbers, guys. Calculate your BMR and then figure out what is my goal. And if your goal is to gain muscle, you are gonna have to be in a surplus. If your goal is to lose fat, you need to be in deficit. What if you want to do both at the same time? Excellent. That is a different conversation, a different video. That's called body recomposition, which is kind of more complicated, and I can post some links to some great resources down below that I've used personally. I'm reading a book, the guide to body recomposition right now, so I'll also post that as well. So that's our first myth. You need 1,200 calories to lose weight. False. You need more than that. 99% of adults need at least 1,200 to stay alive, and that doesn't include activity. So how do I calculate how much I should be eating to lose weight? I think that you should track what you eat for a week and see where you're at, see where it is in relation to your BMI. And then you need to track your activity. So obviously Apple Watch's whoops, they will like overestimate those numbers. So I need to look at my activity for the day. I know like right now I did my strength workout today, and I like bebopped around for a second around the house. I am at 478 active calories on the day. Total calories, I'm about 1,000. That's how many I burn being alive. That's just my total daily expenditure. So by the end of the day, I'll probably be around the 2,000 calorie burn mark. So I'm going to do some yoga. I'm going to walk around, I'm going to be moving. I'm doing chores. So really, I'm looking at calories I need to be alive, which is about 1,400, plus calories I burn actively, which is about 1,000. So that puts me at 2,400 calories. So should I be eating 2,400 calories? That depends on your goals. I want to gain muscle and lose fat right now. So I'm actually currently eating about 2,000 on average. Some days I eat a little more, some days I eat a little less. I'm on a pretty long journey. Like I'm looking at like a 50-week plan, 50-week plan that I have kind of written out for myself, thought out for myself. So I don't have like a set goal for right here and now. I have micro goals set in between, which is something we also need to talk about in another video, goal setting. And it's obviously very individual. But on topic, 1, calculate how many calories you're burning a day. Calculate how many calories you need per day for your BMR. Calculate how many calories you're eating per day. You need to figure something out in between. So if you're looking to put on muscle, you need to add 250 ish or more. And please talk to me about this so we can find the actual correct numbers that are 100% perfect, and 250 less if you're looking to lose weight. Do we overestimate how many calories we burn in a day? You betcha. I think that we actively burn probably between 200 and 300 calories less than our Apple Watches or Whoops tell us, which I have both right now, or a Samsung watch or whatever Fitbit you have going on. I think that it would be really great for us to just kind of like take these off for a day and not let it define what our activity levels are, and listen to our body. That's our other thing is intuitive eating. Really important. I don't think that anyone needs to follow intermittent fasting or cutting off your eating at a certain time of the day, or not eating at night, or skipping breakfast, or not snacking. All those things. It is so important to listen to your body. And unlike the hunter-gatherers who would have things at their disposal, they gather things. Of course, hunter-gatherer. When you're hungry, your body sends a signal. If you continue to ignore that signal, you are harming your body, period. Especially people that have had any issues with eating disorders, disordered eating, a poor relationship with food, which is 99% of all women I know have had some kind of poor relationship with food, if not eating disorder or eating disorder behavior. I personally have. I've dealt with it in my teenage years. I've dealt with it on and off with my ex-girlfriend, with her anorexia and issues like that, and facing that and kind of facing my own food phobias, and learning how to help her be a little bit more intuitive about her eating, a little bit more welcoming toward food. I found so many things that I was like rejecting subconsciously. And you have to know that what you are rejecting subconsciously, you are also projecting onto people around you, which includes your kids, which includes your significant other and your friends. So if someone gets a Diet Coke from the soda machine, don't sneer at it. Or if your kids want another thing goldfish, the last thing you want to do is promote eating disorder behavior in yourself and your family and your friends, anybody. So intuitive eating is really important. I really would like to talk to everybody about that. So schedule a meeting with me, or a focus meeting if you're a member at Burn. And let's talk about how to eat for your body and what's right for your body. So what's another myth that I want to cover today? I'm at 14 minutes, so I probably should end this soon. Does eating at night make you fat? Nope. Do I think that eating at night is necessarily good for you? Does it slow down your metabolism? The studies are, again, controversial about that. I don't think that as long as you're within your calorie allotment, that eating at night is going to make you fat. I think your metabolism is a little bit slower, but it's pretty small. Like, it's so minute that it's almost irrelevant. Like, it's literally a 1%, 2% difference between the day. So whenever in studies, and I can post the studies if you'd like to see them, if you're looking at breakfast time-ish versus lunchtime-ish, your metabolism is like eating the same meal. They put people through eating the same meal at this time versus this time, or this and skipping, and the metabolism didn't change. And then afternoon versus night really didn't change. It was so minimal. So if we're looking at like the reason why we as trainers, and I think as people in nutrition or people in health, promote this idea of like a certain eating window is because, not because eating at night is a bad thing, but because we typically habitually reach for the bad foods, quote unquote, at that time. So not eating at night is meant to promote healthier eating and keeping you in your calorie deficit, because typically you make it through the whole day. Like, you've got that willpower, you make it all day, you don't have a single sweet. There was something on the table at the office, well, I guess hashtag COVID, there wasn't a sweet on your coffee table, and there was you didn't put creamer in your coffee. Great. Your kids had pancakes and they didn't eat their last one and you didn't eat it. At dinner time, the kids wanted goldfish or whatever, or your husband like pulled out the friggin' pint of ice cream and just sitting there eating away, and you were just hating him because if he just cut that out for a week, he'd lose 10 pounds and have a 6-pack, and you're like, I hate you. So you're really keeping up this willpower, and you're fighting all these urges constantly, and it's everywhere around us. Like the almost like sex appeal of food, it's so funny to say, is everywhere. You look on Instagram, on Facebook, on freaking the TV, even in your own kitchen, like the labels on things and the pictures make it more appealing. There's not a sexy label of broccoli like surrounded by hearts and stars, and they're not promoting it online. And when you're looking at Instagram, foods and products that are being advertised to you are not the health options. So typically, and I know this for me, whenever I make it through the whole day and I'm eating clean, I'm eating healthy, that like 9:30, I finish dinner, I'm like doing some dishes, I'm reaching for that cabinet, I'm grabbing my freaking Fruit Loops. They have the big ones now, like the giant size Fruit Loops, these little snack packs. I'm grabbing some Fruit Loops, I'm grabbing a chocolate bar, I'm grabbing whatever. Maybe I want my Takis. Kate hates my Takis. I'm sitting there eating my Takis away, and all of a sudden I've racked up, boom, 200 calories, boom, 300 calories, 400. You don't even realize it. Everyone's like, oh, what about healthy options like a chocolate covered almond? Almonds are amazing for your body. What a great seed. What a great thing. Almonds are a seed, by the way, not a nut. And I don't know why I brought that up, but anyways, those things, a handful, you're looking at, I don't know, like 220 calories. People usually don't stop at 7, they stop at 20. So you're all of a sudden you're over and you don't realize it. So that's why that is created. If you're wondering, like, why do people promote it all the time? Because they're trying to create better habits, and we assume that later at night is when you're creating bad habits. And that's not necessarily true. I'm someone who eats dinner later. So has that affected my metabolism? I don't think so. Are there ways to increase your metabolism or speed it up? Yes. There's also ways to improve your metabolism by improving your thyroid. You need to get tested. See if you have hypothyroid. If you are somebody that is eating all the time and you're never full and you can never gain weight for the life of you, and you feel frail, you probably have hypothyroid. You have another condition which you need to have checked out by a medical professional, by a doctor. You need blood work. I think everybody that's into fitness and everyone that's into health should get blood work at some point to test out all of your micronutrients. We talk about the macros, carbs, protein, fat. What about all the other stuff? What about my vitamin A? What about my vitamin K? What about my potassium? What about vitamin D? What about B12? All these things affect my performance, my skin, my health, my vision, my sleep, my muscle recovery, like magnesium, right? And zinc. Why aren't we looking at these important things? We're so busy talking about freaking protein powder and should I take creatine or not? Should you take creatine? Yes, if you're looking to gain muscle. But I think that everyone should get blood work. I think that I'm going to get some blood work again once this COVID is a little bit better, where I can get into a clinic where I know that I have an appointment, whatever. I think it's super important. And this video is getting way too long, so just some points. One, calculate your basal metabolic rate. Find out what it is. If you're looking to lose weight, you take off 250 calories. If you're looking to gain weight, you add 250. You should never be under 1,200, no matter who you are. We overestimate how many calories we burn in the day. And if you're tracking on MyFitnessPal, I really don't think you should include the exercise, unless it's kind of a mental thing for you. Like for me, it's a mental thing, so I do calculate the exercise. I like to have it all tracked on both my trackers. What else? Does eating late make you fat? Is intermittent fasting the way to go? No to both. Intermittent fasting isn't going to make you skinnier. It's not going to make you healthier. If that's a way to help your habits, that's awesome. If eating low carb keto is a way to help your habits, great. That can really affect your body later on though. That's why people get like the keto flu, right? It's not your body detoxing from all the bad foods you're eating unless you're eating literally shit all the time. So should you be eating low carb? No. Does that work for you? Short term for weight loss? Sure, because you're cutting out the processed carbs that you're most likely eating. If you're eating 8 slices of bread a day and you go from 8 slices to no slices, well, yeah, you're going to lose weight because you're losing calories, but what are you replacing it with? That's the real question. Like, people who get fat on a keto diet are people who replace their bread with nuts and seeds and meats and cheeses, because meat and cheese, when in the world did we say that eating meat and cheese all day, like sitting here with deli slices and cheese and freaking grilled cheese sandwiches, or I guess not grilled cheese sandwich because we're not eating bread, on keto bread, when did we say that was the way to get healthy? Like, processed dairy is shit for your body, so I don't know why anyone consumes it, but if you do, it's more fine. I just think that why would you over consume something that's so full of fat and then meat that's full of cholesterol and like all these heart issues that like could happen? So anyways, I'm not shitting on keto because I'm on like a vegan keto. So I'm eating, basically, that's a stupid way of saying, I'm eating higher protein, higher fats. I'm having more nuts and seeds. I've been oil free for a long time, so I'm adding oil back into my cooking. And I'm cutting out processed carbs, a little bit, just to see what it does to my body, to see how it affects me. So it's pretty much it. Does any diet make you skinny? Nope. It's the way you eat. It's a structure, and it should be a lifestyle change. So if you can do keto for life, or some version of lower carb for your whole life, fantastic. I'm going to be vegan for the rest of my life. I know that ethically that's what works for me. Mentally that's what works for me. In all my cooking, that's what works for me. So make it something you can maintain. Is Whole30 or Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers something you can keep up with for your whole life? And if not, then what are you going to take away from the experience of it? That's the real question. Like, Whole30 is supposed to be 30 days, right? And I know some people who've done Whole30 for like a year. Essentially, you're just learning habits, like newer, fresher habits to make your eating better. So how can I create better habits? It takes 21 days-ish to create a habit and make it stick. I think longer, to be honest. I think it's 30 days or more. So find someone to keep you accountable. That's what your trainers are for. And write them down, write out your goals, and talk to me. All right, guys.